Hi, it's Sherri from A Quilting Life, and today I'm here to talk about Moda Block Heads 3. This week I'm sharing Moda Block Heads 3 Block 13 by the lovely Jen Kingwell. Jen's block looks a little bit complicated, but it's actually not that hard. I am going to give you some tips and tricks in today's video, and those will be great if you've already used foundation paper piecing. If you've never done foundation paper piecing before, I'm also filming a separate video that will walk you step by step through how to construct this type of block. And I will show you some tips and tricks in today's video, just in case you've already used that method and you're just looking for a few ideas. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few tips, tricks, and pointers about the Moda Block Heads 3 Block 13, which is called the Baldwin and is by Jen Kingwell. The tips in this video are primarily for if you've done foundation paper piecing before and you just need a few tips and reminders. If you've never done it before though, and you really want to try to make this beautiful block, I am also filming a video with step-by-step instructions for this technique. So be sure to check that video out if it's still a little overwhelming after watching today's video. Okay, so first things first, Jen's block is available in 4 sizes, the 4-inch, the 6-inch, the 8-inch, and the 12-inch. And so when you download your PDF pattern, you'll have to make sure that you notice the sizes on the page. So you'll have to make sure that you notice which size you're printing. And you're going to need 4 units of the A unit and 4 units of the B unit. So they are slightly different, and they are labeled on the pattern A1, 2, 3, 4 and B1, 2, 3, 4. So again, you'll need to print off 4 of these and 4 of these, and I do like to cut them out of the page. I'll usually even cut I'll cut this out so that it's just a little bit beyond where the lines are on the pattern. One really good tip is to write on your pieces what color. So this unit right here was comprised of light fabrics, and I called this orchid because it had the orchid flower. So B1 was orchid, B2 was light, B3 was orchid, and B4 was light. And I labeled all of my pattern pieces so I would make sure to use the right fabrics in the right place. And I did the same thing with my gray units, dark gray, light gray, dark gray, light gray. And I labeled all of my sections so that it would make it easier for me to know which fabric I was supposed to be using. I also really want to recommend the add a quarter or the add an eighth. I think I use the add an eighth more commonly, but these are great rulers that have a little lip on the back, which make it really easy when you're trimming your foundation paper piece units. And I'll show exactly how to use this in the other video. One other thing is you might want to keep the paper attached to your block while you're storing it before you sew it into your quilt. I just feel like it gives it more stability. I did remove papers from seam allowances before I pressed my seam allowances open though. So that's the only place I removed papers when I was putting this block together. And you can see again all my labels. And I was going to try to color it in with some colored pencils, but that just wasn't as effective as labeling. So I ended up labeling everything. More tips and tricks for this are just to be really careful when you print out your patterns. There is a 1-inch block and you'll need to measure that and make sure it's accurate. And then also make sure that your 1/4-inch seams printed out accurately. As far as that goes, the instructions are really good in the pattern. Remember, you'll need to go to Jen's website to download the pattern, but there are step-by-step instructions that you can follow in here as well. It's a really fun block, It actually goes together a lot more quickly than I thought it would. I made all of my A sections at one time, and then, oh, I guess those are the grays, were my A sections. And then I made all of my B sections together, and it really didn't take as long as I thought it would, and I was really happy with the block, how it turned out. Remember, there's one more video you can watch if you need a few more pointers on how to use this method for block construction. I don't love foundation paper piecing, I've got to admit, but sometimes you can just achieve some really remarkable effects when using it. One tip that I want to be sure and mention about this block is that it will really help if when you're sewing on the foundation paper, if you shorten your machine stitch down to about a 1.5. It really helps when you go to tear the paper off so that you're not stretching your fabric as much. And also if you can backstitch when you begin and end on each of these seams, that will also be a great help to you in the end when you're taking the paper off and getting ready to see your final block. I hope you've enjoyed today's little video about Moda Block Heads 3 Block 13 by Jen Kingwell. Remember, you'll need to go to Jen's website to get the pattern for this week's block pattern, and you also can look for my other video that has a step-by-step tutorial if you need more information than what I gave you in today's video. I hope that you're enjoying the Moda Block Heads 3 sew along, and thanks so much for stopping by.